All right, we messed up a little bit. Okay. Thomas's excuse for being extra fastidious is that he's half German.
That was crazy. We just saw some smoke. This is Joel. Together with Tony and Jared, he gave up everything to buy a boat and go on the adventure of a lifetime. But after a death-defying sail to Cuba, he returned to Key West and found himself alone.
Wish me luck on this adventure.
When Michael finished school, I asked her to sail with me to the Bahamas. She agreed, but joined strictly as crew. 4 months later, we made it to the Dominican Republic. Broke and in love.
Bums on a Boat is a true story about facing fear, finding adventure, and falling in love. Each tale is brought to you by our patrons and viewers. Subscribe and click the bell to get notified about weekly premieres and visit our website to learn more. Thank you for watching.
We're walking away with a little girl.
These are the tales of Moab.
I wanted to start this episode off by saying thank you. We have 124 patrons now, which is mind-blowing. So thank you, all of you that have chosen to become patrons. You guys are making a big difference for us. All of the comments that we get have been very encouraging, especially the last couple weeks.
So awesome. Thank you guys.
We're on our way to the boat.
Here we go. Today's the day.
Back on old Jacques Mate. We're lapping valves. I've spent many hours lapping valves, going over and over. They needed it pretty badly. The first session, Tom looked at the valves and said, you need to do it all over. As much as you did, do that again on all of them. Michael actually did a lot of work as well. We came and just put a hard day's worth of work in. We didn't even bring any cameras.
It was basically just a lot more cleaning, which we've been doing continuously on this engine. I think the ultimate would be to pull it out of the boat and to clean it and paint it somewhere else, but we're not doing that just yet. I don't think we want to do that in Luperon. But once we removed the starter and we had access to this side of the engine, we could see all of the flaking rust and gross bits on that side, so we scraped that off with a screwdriver, went over it with a wire brush a lot, and degreased it really well so we could apply some more paint. We found this engine enamel at the hardware store.
It's actually quite miraculous how the logistics of everything has worked out. Tom needed us to find things like a feeler gauge. We had to get a die set. John, a friend of ours, gave us a feeler gauge to use. Our friend Dennis had a die set. We had to get a starter rebuilt, and our friend Dennis knew Randy, the man to know in Luperon, and Randy just cleaned that starter up. It looks amazing, and just put it back together. We got it the next day, so it was a quick turnaround. We had to find a stud, replacement stud, so we actually found a bolt, but we really had to find all these things, and everything fell into place, and it's really thanks to a lot of awesome people that are in our lives. The man of the hour has arrived.
Pull the seals off?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Put them in the baggies.
Righty. I think. And you wash the whole thing again?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now where they...
The grinding compound has like diamond dust in there, and he's adamant that we get every last one of those little silver shiny pieces of dust out of there, because that's way worse than dirt or any of the stuff we had in there. He also brought an air compressor. He brought a dive tank. Alright, we messed up a little bit. We had no paper towels, and that was like the first thing Tom asked for. Second thing was carb cleaner, which we have 3 cans. Michael went through every single one of them cleaning the engine. So we had no carb cleaner, which is basically what he wants to use to degrease it. So he had to go get his own paper towels and some sort of a pressurized spray that will degrease the head, because he said the gasket it needs to seal obviously on the head, and if there's any oil or grease or anything on there, it's not going to work. So he had to go. So already we failed a little bit. Bah.
I'm looking at the lobe, and I'm just turning the engine so I can see at 360 on the lobe.
Is that underneath the lifter?
Well, it's a shaft, and a lobe is bigger than the shaft. It's a distance, and as it rotates, it lifts the lifter in. Of course, pushes the valve open.
Mm-hmm.
The lifters are going back in now that he's inspected the lobes.
Just doing a real quick inspection. Okay, I feel really good. I think that's a good one. That's it. Number 5. Like a little fuzz in this one too, so I'm gonna work on it.
Sorry about the noise, guys. It's a little bit windy outside.
A little bit.
I don't know if you can even hear us. Yeah, it's a gale. When we cleaned up, we got some residue in the pistons. So.
This is probably not proper. Okay. If those lines go away, it means it's time to re-hone it. And what that does, it makes the piston rings really, the compression is a lot higher. It means it's clean, but it looks really good. There's no, the rings are doing their job. I mean, it looks to it, and it's not that carboned up, so you're good.
Those lines will go away, you're saying?
As the engine wears out, it'll go away.
Okay.
If you're honing the engine, if you're redoing the piston and everything, you'll actually put those score marks on there.
Okay.
Okay, so
I have done that before. A long time with my dad when he was rebuilding an engine.
yeah,
He had me run the hone.
your dad would love doing this with you.
Tom is just about to leave. Hoping maybe you could just catch him up with where we're at.
A stud, which we thought was a standard size, ends up being metric. And the trouble is we can't go any further because that stud being in place does not allow us enough space to put the header, the heater tank on there. We just don't have the space to do it. So we have to put that on the head before we place the head on there. But everything's looking really good. Everything's clean. They did a real nice job. You can't hear it. You can see the paint job. Michael did a fantastic job on the paint job, so it's going to look like a brand new motor.
We are at a friend of ours named John Zidek. He has a shop. He has tap and die set. John is also one of the two that we interviewed. A lot of you showed interest in that 45-minute long interview about, moving to the Dominican Republic. Morning, John.
Hey guys.
Oh, inverter turned on.
Yeah, this is the off-grid shop. This is the old rod where the threads are a little bit messed up on this end of it. So we have another, essentially a long bolt, the same diameter, same metric thread. So what we're planning on doing is cutting this off the same length as this bolt, and then we're going to add the threads to the end of this, the same as. So we'll have basically a long stud. We got the tap and die set over here, so we're going to use to, hopefully, I've got the right size, I think I do, metric. Okay, Joel I see has already got it marked there. And take the cutoff saw.
So you're using that to verify
Yeah, I
what
just want
size?
to make sure we got the right die here.
So you're just screwing it onto the old threads.
Pretty sure that's it.
And what size is that?
It is a M6-1.0 So I'm guessing that means 6 millimeter and 1 thread per millimeter.
That's the die, and then this would be...
Yeah, this is just a tool that you use to turn the die.
Okay.
Normally it's not a big deal. I'm gonna put some oil on it. Okay, that should do it for that. Looks like that should do it.
Does that work, huh? You got the
I
nut
think
on?
so, yep, the nut's on there.
Wow. That took less than 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, so you got it on. That looks like it about the same. We got, you know, the same amount of threads here.
Thank you, John.
You're good to go. 100 pesos.
All right.
No problem.
You got it. That's a great deal. Yeah, just before this, we were going to have to wait about 3 or 4 more days. The one guy we found, he got COVID, and so then it was this whole thing, and luckily we ran into John, and he's like, what? Just come up to my place. I can do that real quick. This time, we're ready for Tom. If there's one thing Tom loves when he's doing a good engine job, it's paper towels. Thomas has arrived.
Now, if we're really worried about this being clean, you can take 2 nuts, one on top of each other, and lock it in and do that, but we're not worried about this. We're not. All a stud does for you instead of a bolt, it doesn't really do anything fancy other than it helps you. It's like a lining pin, and it just cuts the oil.
Nice, fresh, new gasket.
Yep, perfect. Okay. Okay, nuts.
Thomas's excuse for being extra fastidious is that he's half German. I'm not sure what fastidious means, but Michael just used that word, so I think it's right.
I don't know it either, but I'm German, so I get an excuse.
Okay, okay. I'm Joel, so I get an excuse. Thomas gets an excuse of not knowing the word because he's German.
Okay.
It means you have an attention to detail,
Mm.
and you're somewhat particular.
You don't want to like fully torque any one bolt because it's everything's that we want to go on that gasket and squeeze it nice and evenly. So what we'll do is we're going to finger tighten them all, and then we'll bring them. I'm just giving theoretical numbers. We'll go to 5 pounds per square inch, and then we'll go to 10.
So the exhaust manifold is now secured to the head. Next, we're going to put the valve stem seals on.
What we're looking for is to get a socket that's big enough. Perfect. This will do it. What it'll do, it'll set just on the outside rim of this, so it'll hold. It'll after it's on so far, and then you have a real small hammer. Being too baby with it. Perfect. It never hurts to have too much oil. Just for this part, so I just throw a little drop in there. Hands are clean. Just put it down there. And I always put my finger up against this just so you don't. There we go. Okay, number 2. Joel, you did a good job.
Oh, thank you.
Put my finger there again, just as it comes through, just to kind of
Make sure it doesn't shove the
pop
little
off or anything yet.
rubber piece out.
Just because it's last don't mean it's least.
Now it's time for the valve springs.
We're on number 1.
Note the importance of plastic baggies.
Oh yeah.
Super important organization. Wow, it's key.
Now you will notice, and it's tapered. It's like a cone, and we're gonna take, and this is nice and clean. We're gonna take that cone, and it goes down. My valve spring compressor.
Right here?
That's the one. going to squeeze this. Now, there's 2 keepers left in there. And I don't see any dirt on either one of them. And you want to make sure that they're both in there, and they are. See the little gap in there at the top? There's a little gap, and once that's there, then we're going to slowly let it off. Okay, so now what we're going to do, just for the camera, since you guys are filming this, we're going to put the keepers on. Give me number, we're going to go to bag number 2. One will go in this side, and once it's in there, it's up against there. And once this one's up there, it's in there. And you can see that they both go together. That's the trick.
And then when the pressure
And
is on them,
exactly, the spring, and it's in a cone. The cone itself will hold it in. Okay, you're in.
okay, we're on the last one, and Thomas just shared with us a Thomasism. Be it grand or be it small, do it right or not at all. Head gasket is going on. He used carb cleaner a couple of times to get all the grease and just make it super clean.
See how that hole's completely shown?
Mm-hmm.
If we turn it the other way, as even as that looks, it isn't like that. See how it's halfway, half the hole is hidden.
So our set came with new glow plugs. We really didn't think we needed them, but Thomas said they're easy enough to install, so we're just gonna do that.
And old and new. Glow plug's nothing more than this thing gets red hot. It's kind of like a spark plug, but it's not a spark plug. This runs on heat of compression, so the heat that actually is developed when the piston comes up is so hot that it'll ignite the oil that you're pumping in there under a real fine spray. Almost like a mist, like a fog.
Just sanding off this little crusty piece.
Okay, I think we're gonna have to go back a little bit more than straight down because that fuel hose is there. That fuel line is there.
Okay.
So the most expensive oil, the most expensive oil filter, the most expensive air filter is the cheapest thing you can do to your engine.
That's another Thomasism. You're welcome.
I can just start to feel that's not it yet. There we go. Then I'm going to go across. I'm going to go all the way over to here.
That was crazy. We just saw some smoke coming from the wire that connects to the starter. It must have been touching on our exhaust manifold.
Because I don't want to redo that.
Yeah, so we just need to leave the batteries off and just take off this red wire here.
Exactly, and then instead of the red wire, evidently the way you put the red wire with nothing being there, it was actually to the point where as we were going down with this, it started to touch it and it's going to ground. So no damage done. You haven't heard anything.
Okay, Thomas is just beginning the torquing process. And now, it's time for the push rods. And now, it's time for the rocker arm.
Down, but there's a little place that sets. For tonight, we're shutting down. We're just going to cover that up.
This is the end of the episode, so you're going to have to wait till next time to see if she starts or not.
Oh yeah, she'll start.
You think she'll start?
Oh, I think she'll start.
You think she's gonna?
I'll bet you it'll start.
Okay, Thomas is betting it's gonna start. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye, guys.